Welcome to Stick to Sports. I'm Zach Malamud.
And I'm Joey Pulatsky. Today we take a look at the NBA Finals, the first month of the MLB season, and check in on how the New York teams fared in the NFL Draft.
Roll it. The New York Knicks grabbed a huge win on their home floor last night in Game 2 of their Eastern Conference semifinal matchup against the Miami Heat. Miami was without Jimmy Butler after he rolled his ankle towards the end of Game 1. The series now moves down to Miami with things all knotted at 1. Joey, Game 3 isn't until Saturday, so a lot of rest for both teams. Who wins this series?
Zach, I think the Miami Heat take this series in all honesty. This long rest that the NBA has now with the playoffs in the travel days really favors the Heat with Jimmy Butler's rolled ankle towards the end of Game 1. Gets an extended period, and you saw what Butler did in Game 1 with the assistance of guys like Kyle Lowry, Gabe Vincent. This Heat team just seems better when fully healthy than me. The New York Knicks still haven't really impressed me. Each team seems still a bit lackluster in my eyes. I don't think either of them has a chance in the Eastern Conference Finals, but I think the Heat take this series with the help of Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, just like the Milwaukee series, I agree with you. I think it hinges on the health of Jimmy Butler and if he's able to play. Gabe Vincent, he's the best scorer right now behind Butler, but if Butler plays, he can single-handedly take over a game and win it for the Heat. I mean, the only way the Knicks win is if they repeat what they did in Game 2. Jalen Brunson with 30 points, Julius Randle with 25 points, and RJ Barrett with 24. I mean, Brunson's going to be guarded by Jimmy Butler, though, so that's going to be a tough matchup. But like I said, if the Knicks are able to repeat what they did in Game 2, I think they have a shot in this series.
Yeah, the Knicks' big three, like you said, just doesn't quite blow me away. I don't think they're going to get that same job done. But regardless, I think bringing back Jimmy Butler and what he does in the playoffs is the X factor in the series. But I still think we both agree that neither team has a shot in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I don't think either of these teams are beating Philly or the Celtics.
The Los Angeles Lakers took Game 1 against the Golden State Warriors 117-112 last night as LeBron and company claimed the opening matchup in the Western Conference semis. Golden State knocked down 21 of their 53 three-pointers, but ultimately wasn't enough to top Anthony Davis' 30 points, 23 rebounds, as well as 25 points at the free throw line for the Lakers. Of course, it's a treat to have another LeBron versus Steph series, but Zach, who do you see winning this clash between the two legends?
I think the Warriors are going to end up taking it. They're the better team, but I think this series is definitely going 7 games. There's no doubt in my mind. The Warriors lost a lot of energy in that Kings series. I mean, the Kings gave them a real dogfight until Game 7 where Steph took over in the second half, dropped 50 in the game. But it's a must-win Game 2 for the Warriors right now. It's pretty clear that if the Warriors limit Anthony Davis, I mean, they have a clear shot to win this series, but how easy is that?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the key ingredient in this series is going to be, can the Warriors limit Anthony Davis? And I think just based off what we saw against the Kings in the first round, Kevon Looney is still that guy who can do at least a decent job against Anthony Davis. No, I think Davis is a much better player than Domantas Sabonis, but I think Looney's still a guy that can get you 10 points and 20 rebounds a night. I think he can limit Davis at least a bit defensively. But at the end of the day, we're also banking on Anthony Davis to stay healthy in these next 6 games, which I'm not banking on. And it seems like the Warriors were still kind of coming down off that Game 7. And Jordan Poole with the last shot, too. So I think the Warriors take the series.
The 3-seeded Philadelphia 76ers grabbed a shocking 119-115 victory over the 2-seeded Boston Celtics in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals on Monday night. The Sixers were without MVP candidate Joel Embiid, who was absent due to a sprained knee. However, James Harden picked up the workload for his big man, dropping 45 points with 7 3-balls. Joey, the Celtics just won Game 2. What are the chances now that the Sixers get past the Boston Celtics?
I still have the Sixers getting past the Celtics in this series despite how horrid the performance was tonight. I think without a doubt coming into this series, and it was proving it tonight, that the X factor in this series is going to be James Harden. Guy that went for 45 points in Game 1, has a horrid night tonight. The entire team, yes, Embiid's the MVP, and his success on the floor is going to matter a lot in this series. But what Harden can do in terms of scoring, in terms of playmaking, to set up guys like Embiid, to set up guys like Tyrese Maxey, and to create for himself as well. I think the Sixers take this series. I think James Harden's still one of the best players, and one of the best scorers, one of the best playmakers in the league. But the Sixers have to just find some rhythm on offense.
Yeah, I still think it's going to end up being Celtics in 6. That's my prediction. I can't. The Celtics, I mean, they can't expect to lose the turnover battle, 16-8 in game 1, and they also let up 17 made threes for the Sixers. Obviously, James Harden needs to go absolutely off because behind Joel Embiid, there's really not too much scoring for the Sixers.
The top-seeded Denver Nuggets took care of business on the home floor, knocking off the Phoenix Suns 125-107 and 97-87 in the first 2 games of the Western Conference semis. Game 1 featured Jamal Murray having a 34-point outburst, and Nikola Jokic went and got 39 and 16 in the second victory. As the series now heads to Phoenix, Zach, do KD and the Suns have a chance to come back and win this series, or will we be seeing the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals?
It's going to end up being the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. The Suns only put up 87 points in Game 2. Denver wasn't much better, though. They only put up 97. Jamal Murray ended up really struggling in Game 2, but I lost all confidence in the Suns. If you can't put up over 100 points and expect to beat a guy like Nikola Jokic, who's basically throwing DeAndre Ayton around, get out of the way. I mean, the Nuggets are going to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I think the Nuggets take the series in pretty convincingly. You have no Chris Paul on the Suns side, but in my book, the best guard-big man combo in the league is a healthy Jamal Murray and an MVP caliber Nikola Jokic. I think they get it done in this series. I think they still go win the title. But at the end of the day, Jokic, what he does to Ayton, not only on the outside, but he's also been taking him inside. Nuggets go win the series pretty handily.
We're going to take a quick break here on Stick to Sports. Up next, we check in on Major League Baseball and recap the NFL draft for the New York team. Stay tuned on WTOP 10.
Glad everything's working.
Say, President Stanley, whenever there's bad weather, who would you turn to?
I'd turn to Storm Team 10.
No, but you've got to say it like this. Storm Team 10. Say it with me. Storm Team 10.
What's going on?
Yeah, dude, we go on at like 11:30. It's like,
No.
what do you mean no?
It's 10:30.
10:30?
Yeah, it's 10:30.
What do you mean it's 10:30? Hey, don't touch that. That's my ladder.
Hey, man.
Whoa.
You know this book was already discounted 10%?
Wow.
Wow.
Get a close up of that one.
Matthew.
Look at that.
Can we go back inside? I want to sleep in the studio again.
Welcome back to Stick to Sports. Let's switch gears to Major League Baseball as the New York Yankees have had a horrendous end to the month of April as they sit in last place in the American League East. 3 straight series losses to Toronto, Minnesota, and Texas, plus last year's MVP, Aaron Judge, heading to the 10-day IL with a hip strain. Joey, are we blowing up the team? What's the problem here with the Yankees?
It's May 3rd. We're not blowing anything up. Everybody relax. First and foremost, the injuries are still the issue with this team. You have Giancarlo Stanton goes down early. Harrison Bader, Carlos Rodon both don't start the year. Josh Donaldson doesn't start the year. At the end of the day, what we've seen come mid to late April and the Yankees dropping the last 4 series, it's all come down to Aaron Judge and sliding into third and injured his wrist, and then the hip injury the next day. If anything, it kind of exemplifies more that he should be the captain of this team, not only for his field on the play, but it's proven, we're seeing it now, he's the entire heartbeat and soul of this team. When he's in the lineup, they're playing well. When he's not in the lineup, they're dropping series left and right. That injury turned the entire month, but there's still plenty more months left to go in the season.
Yeah, the injury bug is back for the Yankees. I mean, Judge's injury really couldn't have come at a worse time, but Clark Schmidt, I know he won the game tonight, but it's an automatic loss when he pitches, and Herman so-so when it comes to pitching and being a reliant starting pitcher. The New York Mets have been on a cold stretch of their own lately, winning just 2 of their last 8 games. Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander are both set to make their return on the mound today and tomorrow. Pete Alonso is tied for the league lead in home runs with 11 of them to start this season. Joey, your thoughts on the Mets season so far?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this Mets team just isn't a great ball club. The division's still kind of winnable, just considering the Phillies and the Braves, or not winnable, I should say, with the Phillies and Braves there. This is a very tough division there in the NL East. But at the end of the day, the Mets came into the season already on a down note with Edwin Diaz in the World Baseball Classic being done for the year. Already coming into the season with your backs against the wall. The bats and pitching really just haven't been clicking. The starting rotation with Verlander and Scherzer have already seen issues and missing starts. But at the end of the day, it's still just now into early May, still plenty of time for them to figure it out.
Yeah, the Mets really can't get things going anywhere. I mean, when your top 2 hitters, Lindor, Alonso's batting .248, and Lindor's batting under .220. You can't expect your best hitters to not be great and still be a consistent baseball team. Let's take a look at some of the biggest storylines to start the season, whether it's the Rays at 23-6, the Pirates at 20-9, the Rangers leading the AL West, or the Cardinals winning just 2 of their last 10. Joey, what is the most surprising storyline so far this season?
So, Zach, those are all great storylines. I think the Rays' hot start isn't that surprising considering they're already a World Series contender. When you look at the Pirates' hot start, I don't think it's going to pan out the rest of the season. The Cardinals getting slow, I think in my eyes, has to do with the demotion of Jordan Walker, which has just been a questionable move. The Rangers and their hot start is without a doubt the big storyline for April in my eyes. Adolis Garcia is one of the most underrated hitters in baseball. Josh Young, who out of Texas Tech, who just went and won AL Rookie of the Month for April. This lineup's deep. They have decent arms. It's a team that can really sustain success throughout the season.
Yeah, I'm going with Pittsburgh. Brian Reynolds is batting .330 right now. Jack Sawinski with 6 home runs. They're a top 10 bullpen ERA, and they have allowed the least amount of home runs as a bullpen in the National League. I mean, what a surprise that Pittsburgh is top of the NL Central.
Now switching gears to the NFL draft. The Jets went with linemen in each of their first 3 picks, featuring Will McDonald, 4th out of Iowa State, with their first selection. Interestingly enough, even with the addition of Aaron Rodgers, no wide receivers selected in this draft by the Jets. Zach, your thoughts on how the draft went for the New York Jets?
As we look at the Jets draft picks here, Will McDonald, the 4th, a first-round pick. He's pretty strong, though. He got past a offensive lineman on Iowa, I'm blanking out on his name right now, Wright, who got drafted in the first round. But I think the Jets did a good job here. They beefed up on the offensive line, as you can see, and they grabbed a sneaky running back, Israel Abanikanda, a running back from Pitt, in the 5th round.
I think Israel Abanikanda, again, is the name that sticks out on this sheet, just because if Breece Hall comes back either not fully like himself or not fully healthy, whatever the situation is, still a decent running back there. You see the 6th and 7th round picks there as well, but I think the Jets really in the trenches got more solid, but especially in the backfield, having someone to help out Aaron Rodgers, this team's still pretty solid. Now, the New York Giants went and made 7 picks at 7 different positions, with their top pick being Maryland star cornerback Deonte Banks as their first-round selection. Zach, your takeaways now on the Giants draft.
As we look at the Giants draft, I mean, they did a good job. They grabbed Deonte Banks. I had him going a little bit earlier in the first round, but a strong cornerback out of Maryland. The sneaky one that you'll love, of course, Jalen Hyatt, grabbing that wide receiver in the 3rd round. I mean, there were people that had him in the 1st round, maybe even early 2nd. So to be able to grab him, they grabbed a running back and a cornerback. I think it's overall a good draft for the Giants, considering they were later in each round.
I think this is an outstanding draft for the Giants. I mean, you lose James Bradbury in free agency last year to the Eagles. Now you have another cornerback in Banks who can opposite Adoree Jackson. You add Jalen Hyatt, who is one of the best 3 receivers in this draft. who I had going first round. Thought the Giants might have even picked him up late in the first round, get him in the third. An absolute steal, some offensive line help. A really nice draft for the Giants. The Buffalo Bills had a nice draft as well, featuring Utah tight end Dalton Kincaid and Florida offensive guard Osiris Torrance. Zach, do you think the Bills found the pieces that get them over the hump and into the Super Bowl?
So the Bills did a good job as well. I really liked their first-round pick, Dalton Kincaid. A lot of people had him as the #1 tight end over Mayer from Notre Dame. Dalton Kincaid, I mean, he's going to fit perfectly into this offense. Of course, there were the questions about Dawson Knox always in Buffalo, but to be able to grab, they grabbed some big guys. Osiris Torrance, you brought up the guard out of Florida, but grabbing more weapons, a tight end, as well as Justin Shorter, a wide receiver. Bills beefed up on offense.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised they didn't go with a wide receiver higher than the 5th round, but Kincaid's still a nice pick. Whether you back him up from Knox or you go 2 tight end sets, it's still a good draft for the Bills regardless. And I don't know if they have any guys in here that help get them over the Super Bowl hump. Still need a real solid running back in my book, but some good picks regardless from all 3 New York teams. We'll take a quick break, but when we come back, Zach will be joined by Ben Diamond. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Stick to Sports on WZOP 10.
Free. La 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 la. La 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 la. Freeze.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
We'll deep dive into our feelings in our Real Talk segment. Stay tuned because it's about to get real.
And it could be your last chance to see one occur for 2 decades, as the next time one will be visible over the continental U.S.
He's May 84. Yarrow told police in the hospital that he had pressed the doorbell and waited.
They mix with oxygen and nitrogen. They become briefly
Welcome back to Stick to Sports. It's time for the fast break. Joining me now is Ben Diamond, one of our producers. Ben, what do you have for us tonight?
Thanks, Zach. After slaying the Goliath Boston Bruins in round 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs in improbable fashion, the Florida Panthers are headed to Toronto to take on the Maple Leafs. The Panthers kept their distance on the Leafs in Game 1, winning handily by a score of 4-2 on the back of a 3-point performance from Matthew Tkachuk and 34 saves from Sergei Bobrovsky. Zach, how do you think the rest of the series will play out?
I think if the Panthers play like they did yesterday, they're going to win it in 5 games. I don't think they're going to end up doing that. I'm going Panthers in 7. I mean, the Leafs got past the Lightning, and all credit to them. A couple of straight wins, and I mean, they were back really ahead in the series. But this Panthers team, they've relied so heavily on Matthew Tkachuk. He's answered the call, 14 points leading the NHL so far this postseason. And how about Sergei Bobrovsky? Hasn't been great so far this postseason, but done enough, and he's 4-1 in the playoffs.
This is exactly what the Panthers looked for, especially in the second round of the playoffs, coming in as the second wild card, winning Game 1 on the road against a high-powered Leafs team that really dialed up during the trade deadline and still has, or is getting back all of their guys, all their skaters back healthy. So to win a game on the road like that is really huge. And you gotta say, Matthew Tkachuk joining this Panthers team in the offseason really has been the perfect fit for this team and is gonna hopefully bring them even further into the playoffs. In their first ever Western Conference semifinal game, the Seattle Kraken outlasted the Dallas Stars, winning on an overtime goal from Yanni Gourde. All the life the Stars had in the game came from Joe Pavelski, who scored 4 goals in the contest. Even more impressive is the fact that he just returned from injury. The defense from both teams struggled to help their goaltenders as Jake Ottinger faced 44 Kraken shots and Philip Grubauer faced 35 from the Stars. With a 1-0 series lead for the Kraken, how do you feel this series is going to shake out?
So the Stars definitely have the bigger names of these two teams. I think they do have the better goalie in my mind, Jake Ottinger. He's been a beast so far in the last 2 playoffs. But the Kraken have 3 lines of forwards that can really put the puck in the back of the net. The Stars, like I said, have the bigger names. But when they go up against a guy like Philip Grubauer, who's been super strong against the Avs and now against the Stars, it's going to be hard to get past this Kraken team.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the Stars still need Ottinger in top form, even with the talent with Jason Robertson, Pavelski, as I mentioned earlier, Hintz, and Jamie Benn, all players as skaters that are really good for the Stars, and definitely not as good. Grubauer is definitely not as good. Had a .895 save percentage in the regular season, so Grubauer has been standing on his head all postseason. Moving over to the NFL. Former Packers wide receiver Randall Cobb has signed a 1-year deal with the New York Jets to once again link up with his quarterback Aaron Rodgers. This signing adds another piece of depth to the Jets roster as they now have a versatile veteran wide receiver who can help develop the reigning Offensive Rookie of the Year, Garrett Wilson. The Jets have made a lot of developments this offseason. Where does this move rank next to the others?
I think it doesn't mean too much as we look at Cobb's stats from the last 3 seasons. And he was in Houston in 2020, but then went back to Green Bay, was able to play with Rodgers. Not too much production, ended up getting 5 touchdowns on 28 receptions, 375 yards back in 2021. But I don't think it means too much. It's just another familiar weapon for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he has a bunch of them. Allen Lazard, of course, and as well as Mecole Hardman joined the team. But Garrett Wilson at the top of the list. I think Randall Cobb is number 4 or 5 on the wide receiver list for the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned it. All the names that the Jets have right now, Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard, Breece Hall, all these offensive weapons now, the Jets are just looking for the defense to replicate what they did for majority of the season and keep the offense that was slow with Zach Wilson in the game. Now they have Aaron Rodgers. I think they can do that.
And we'll take a quick break here on Stick to Sports. Thanks once again to Ben for the fast break. When we come back, Joey, Ben, and I will head into extra innings. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Stick to Sports on WTOP 10.
I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
We're here for you, we're here for you. This is your channel 2. With sports and news and what to do, we're here for you. It's your TV, you're watching WTOP. Your TV, thanks for watching. watching WTOP.
La 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 la. Free. La 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 la. La 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 la. Freeze.
Welcome back to Stick to Sports. It is time for the final, I should say, extra innings that will count for this season here on Stick to Sports. Extra innings time. All right, let's get right into it. Let's look at the standings first. Let's take a look at the standings first.
Someone needs to mount the comeback.
I'm already out of contention. I mean, I have my first over 500 week. In every episode, I'm finally over 500 for a week.
Fade Ben Diamond season back in effect.
Yeah, back in effect. But our first game for the final one that will make or break the season, Nuggets at Suns. Suns -3.5 in Game 3. Zach, what you got?
I'm going to go with the Suns. I think they grabbed just one game, and this is the only one. Jokic is too good. They'll get one game at home, the Suns.
I think they'll get a game at home, but not this one. Give me the Nuggets. This is a chance for me to make up one of those two games. So it works well.
I also really like the Nuggets. I think, as I said, Jokic and Jamal Murray, really just a dynamic duo. Moving over to the MLB, Astros at Mariners. Christian Javier versus Luis Castillo, the stars in that game. Joey, who you got winning?
Two really good starters, two really good lineups. Luis Castillo is my pick to win the AL Cy Young. Had kind of a shaky last outing, but the Astros right now kind of teetering with some injuries in their lineup, so still give me the Mariners to win this ballgame.
Yeah, I think the injuries is the difference in this one. I mean, it's going to be a close one because these two high-level starters, but without Tuve out of the lineup for Houston, give me the Mariners.
Nobody will be able to record me choosing the Astros to win a baseball game, so I'm going to go with the Mariners in this one.
Don't bring back the receipts.
Yeah, no receipts here. So the Mariners are going to take this one. We have a sweep, our first sweep in a while, I feel. Astros at Mariners. Mariners taking this one. Dodgers at Padres. Kershaw versus Joe Musgrove. Zach, who's going to win this matchup?
I'm going to go with the Dodgers. It's a tough one because Kershaw, I mean, he's been dealing lately. Musgrove is a dominant pitcher, but the ERA is way up right now. But Kershaw, 5-1 this season. Going to make it 6-1.
Kershaw has been looking vintage. I think Musgrove's only made one or two starts this year. But regardless, this Padres lineup, since the weekend trip for the Mexico City games, they've been loose, they've been together. Juan Soto's gotten hot this week. Give me the Padres to take this.
I like Clayton Kershaw. He's been really, really good this season. I know Padres are a righty-heavy lineup, but I really like Kershaw. He's been looking fantastic to start the season. Moving over to the Octagon,
so
UFC.
You're going with the Dodgers?
Going with Dodgers,
okay.
yeah.
Waiting on the clarification.
Yeah, moving over to the Octagon, UFC 288, Sterling versus Cejudo. Cejudo -115. Zach, who you got in this one?
So I'm going to end up going with Sterling on this one. I'm going with the champ. I understand Cejudo's history, but it's real difficult to come back after he hasn't fought since 2020.
I think this is a no-brainer. It goes from triple C to quadruple C. Brando, I'm on your head, brother. Cejudo the whole way.
Wow. There you go.
I'm going to stick with the guy in the lead right now. I'm going to go with Sterling because he's winning right now, so I have to jump on his bandwagon while I still can.
Let's go, Ben.
We're going to move over to our locks of the week. Joey, why don't you start this one?
Lock of the week. I'm going to stay on the UFC side of things. I think it's a great card. I think Bilal Muhammad handles Gilbert Burns pretty easily. Burns has fought 4 or 5 fights, fought back in early April as well. Guys beat up. Bilal Muhammad is really probably one fight away from getting a shot at Leon Edwards for the welterweight title. I think Bilal Muhammad takes this one and probably finishes Burns as well.
Wow, finishes him. I was going to think you were going to say decision, but I mean, I'm going to go to the NBA. I mean, the Warriors, like I said before, it's a must-win game too. They're 6-point favorites in this one. Give me the points. There's no chance they lose this game too at home. It's going to end up, I think they'll end up winning by 8 to 10 points.
You said the Warriors winning?
Warriors winning.
Yeah, I agree.
-6.
I agree with the Warriors winning. However, the NBA absolutely loves this series. So the Lakers are still going to hit the +6. So the Lakers will lose by less than 6 points.
So they'll lose, but by less
than 6. They'll lose,
6.
but they'll lose by like 3.
Lakers +6.
Lakers +6, and the Warriors are going to win. So I'm going to hop on the Warriors winning with you, but I'm going to take the +6 for this one as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Our last ever extra innings.
Or the one that counts. One that counts. The next one.
What was I say?
Next
We'll get
one's
one
like
senior week.
We'll do it next week.
Yeah, we'll do it next week, but it's not going to count for this year. So, fingers crossed that Joey has a
Got 2
huge
games
week.
to catch up.
Let's go. I got to bring it out.
I need Zach to go under 500 for the first
bring
time
home the
since like
championship.
3 years ago.
That will do it for Extra Innings. That's all the time we have on today's episode of Stick to Sports. Be sure to tune back in Senior Week next week, Wednesday, May 10th, for our series finale right here on WTOP 10.